Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel ForexPnL, where we focus on making big profits and small losses. Today is the 24th of September 2021. It's Friday, the markets are closed and down well. I'm about to do my weekend analysis for the upcoming week. I currently have about 10 currency pairs that are giving me some, technical levels to keep an eye on, all right, from a demand and supply zone perspective. All right, so let's go into the charts. I'm going to be kicking things off with US dollar Swiss francs off of the weekly time frame. So guys, as you can see, as anticipated, this week's price action was actually a pullback. Okay, well, we did not make it into the weekly selling origin. From the open of the week, the markets just started giving us a push to the downside, and you can see one of the levels that I had mapped out last week was this daily demand zone in here, right? And well, now price is slowly but surely making its way towards that level. The weekly candle closed a very nice bearish candle. So let's see, hopefully next week we might get that deep into this demand zone from where I will anticipate the bulls to start coming into this market. Okay, so let's see how that goes. Now I'm going into the daily time frame. What do we have here? Now in the daily time frame, we can see the picture clearer. You can see how price is now slowly but surely making its way towards that daily demand zone that we have in this area. So what I would love to see next week is for price to give me a very nice push to the downside, maybe towards 0.9200 institutional price level. Anywhere in that neighborhood, I would like to see price give me a push into that demand zone, and then from there, any reversals to the upside, I will be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside, retesting, testing this previous swing high, and even possibly pushing into this weekly selling origin that we have in this area. Okay, so let's see how that goes. Now, if we go to the 4 hours time frame, the picture gets even clearer. In my opinion, you can see slowly but surely the market is now, turning around. You can see how we were forming higher highs and higher lows in this area, and then finally you can see how the market has now broken this last demand zone that we have in this area. Okay, and then we formed this lower low, all right, creating this supply zone in the process, this particular supply zone, and you can see how we got this pullback into that supply zone, and the markets are slowly but surely respecting that supply zone at the moment. Okay, so well, the bears are in control right now. What I would love to see is for price to give me a nice push to the downside, okay, as anticipated. Clearly we can see how the markets are slowly building liquidity below in this area. Okay, so I would love to see markets push to the downside, grab liquidity below this equal low area, and then give us a push into this daily demand zone, from where I would love to see a reversal for further continuations to the upside. Okay, that's going to be my favored move going into next week for US dollar Swiss francs. All right, so again, it all depends on how the market opens. Hopefully we get that that push to the downside to create the low of the week, from where the markets would hopefully continue to the upside. So let's see how that goes. That's it for US dollar Swiss francs. Going into the next one, Euro US dollar. What do we have in Euro dollar now? Euro dollar, in my opinion, for this week, you can see the markets, it's almost like an indecision candle, in my opinion. All right, if we go into the there's not much to say here. Price basically bouncing off of that 1700 institutional price level. All right, and you can see how the week closed an indecision candle. Now, not much to say from the weekly. If we go into the daily time frame, what do we have here? Not much, honestly. The markets are pretty much trading around that. We got that bounce off of that 50% Fibonacci of the monthly swing, and you can see we are pretty much trading very close to the previous swing lows. All right, the market has not really done much. I actually thought that this week would have gotten a nice push to the downside, but that did not happen. But that being said, that doesn't mean that the bulls are actually in control either, because you can see that the market structure has not been broken to the downside, to the upside. So from now, we would either need the bulls to come into this market and continue to push price to the upside, taking off these supply zones that are forming on our charts, or for the bears to continue to push price to the downside, clearly taking off these previous swing lows. All right, that's pretty much what I can see from the daily time frame. Now, if we go to the 4 hours time frame for Euro US dollar, what do we have here? The bears are still in control. As you can see here, we formed this 4-hour supply zone as a result of this break of structure. Okay, so very much this is what I'm talking about. So you can see this level of structure right here. We broke that level with this particular candle during the FOMC release, and you can see price pulled back, and from there the bears are now pushing the markets back to the downside. So the bears are still in control in these markets, make no mistakes in my opinion. What I would love to see now is maybe the market opens next week, we'll probably get a push into the supply zone, from where I would love to see the bears come into this market, taking off these lows, all right, for further continuations to the downside towards at least 1600, okay, and even further down, all right, before maybe the bulls can come into this market. Well, if that doesn't happen and the bulls from here, the market continues to push to the upside, even a break of this supply zone will not make me go bullish in this market, and the reason will be because if we break this level, we are going to be running into this supply zone that was formed as a result of this break of structure right here. So in my own opinion, for me to start switching my bias to longs, I would like to see this level clearly taking off, okay, clearly taking off to the upside, and then upon any pullbacks, I'll be zooming into the smaller time frames to search for demand zones that form for further continuations to the upside. That's going to be my game plan to go long in euro-dollar in the upcoming week. So, well, let's see how that goes. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. For now, what I would love to see is a little push to the upside, and then from there I would expect the supply zone to hold, and then from there for further continuations to the downside, creating new lows. That's going to be my favored move as we go into next week. All right, that's it for euro US dollar. Next up is going to be British pound US dollar. So for British pound US dollar, looking into the weekly time frame, this pair is actually looking more bearish than the other pound pairs that I was looking at. Okay, you can see we closed this week a very nice bear candle. Price actually made its way all the way down towards 13600 institutional price level to retest this previous swing low, and from there we got some bulls coming to this market to push the markets a little higher. But all in all, the markets succeeded in closing the week a very nice bear candle. So the bears are still in this market. Well, zooming into the daily time frame, not much has happened. Okay, we did get this little bullish engulf, but in my own opinion, it doesn't carry much weight because we didn't take off any supply zones as a result of this particular formation. So that doesn't carry much weight. Looking at British pound US dollar, you can see it's pretty much as if the market has been ranging. Okay, you can see we have these lows, pretty much equal lows, forming around that 13600 level, and the highs around this area. Okay, so we are building liquidity on both ends of the market. Obviously the markets will try as much as possible to grab liquidity. In my opinion, I think what is going to happen, okay, what I would love to see, what I would prefer to see is for price to give us, for the markets to clearly break below this 13600 as we go into next week, to grab liquidity below this pretty much equal lows that we have here, and in the process probably push price into this weekly demand zone for from where I will anticipate the bulls to come into this market, and any reversals from there, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long. All right, that's pretty much my game plan as we go into next week. So we have this level right here. Hopefully we get that nice push to the downside, grabbing liquidity below this area, and then from there dip into this demand zone, and hopefully get some very nice reversal patterns from where I will expect the bulls to start probably coming into this market for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's it for British pound US dollar. Next up is going to be US dollar Canadian dollar. All right, so now this pair actually is at a very, very key level as we speak. We can see that for this particular week, we closed the week a very nice bearish candle. The bulls succeeded in pushing the markets to the upside towards 12900 institutional price level. We didn't quite make it into that supply zone from that area. You can see the bears came into the markets, and we closed around 126.44. That's significant bearish movement. So right now, this is some key decision levels as far as I'm concerned. From here, we can easily pull out our trend lines and see what's going on in this market. So price is still trading above this trend line in my own opinion. So well, what I would love to see in these particular markets, the bias has not yet changed. Even though we got this pullback, the bias has not yet changed, in my opinion. I would personally love to see this currency pair give us a break to the downside. That is assuming we're going down. I would love to see price give me a very nice break to the downside, clearly breaking 13600 level, taking off this minor bullish origin that we have here, okay, that led to this break of structure. I'm not really calling it a demand zone because we did not really break major structure. All right, so this is just a buying origin, in my opinion, but I would love to see price clearly take that off next week. And then if that is to happen, that would be a confirmation to me that maybe from here the bulls are now out of this game, and you would want to be looking for short opportunities upon pullbacks to fill up supply zones that form up on our charts. Okay, so well, don't want to get ahead of myself, but that's the kind of price action that I would like to see, assuming this market is going to be going to the upside. Another thing to keep in mind is the fact that Friday's price action, you can see how this candle closed a very nice pin bar. Okay, so from here, do we get a very good follow-up to the downside? All right, that would be a very good indication that maybe from here the bears want to come into this market to continue pushing this market to the downside. All right, so let's see how that goes. In my own opinion, I'm not going to be going ahead of myself, because from here easily price can easily bounce off of 1.3600, and from here you can easily see the markets take off again to the upside to manipulate above these highs. All right, so let's see how it goes. I'm not so keen on going long because I really don't like how this market is moving at the moment, but I would love to see short opportunities. Do we get a push to the upside? Then I would love to see the markets give me a push to the downside. Or do we get a push to the downside from here? Then I would love to see the bulls give me some form of pullback to retest this trend line from below for further continuations to the downside. That's going to be the kind of price action that I would love to see in US dollar Canadian dollar. Now, maybe even if we zoom into the 4 hours time frame, we might even begin to see price action clearer. As we zoom into the 4 hours time frame, what do we have here? You can see slowly but surely the market is now beginning to switch. We have this demand zone that we have here that formed as a result of this break of structure that we have at this area right here. Okay, so but slowly but surely, look at what the market has been doing. Yes, we have this demand zone. However, you can see that after that quick spike to the upside into that supply zone, you can see that, well, we are not making higher highs anymore. We're now making lower highs and lower lows. And watch and see, upon pullback, price is now respecting selling origins for further continuations to the downside. So slowly we are now forming lower highs and lower lows. All right, but that being said, you can see how price is yet to take off this demand zone that we have in this area. Look at how we respected that demand zone, and price just basically closed inside that demand zone. All right, so that's the key level, in my own opinion. For next week, I would love to see price clear all these levels that we have in this area, assuming the bears are going, assuming these markets are going to be going down. I would like to see this market, I would like to see the bears come into this market, clear this particular levels that we have here to the downside. That might be an indication that upon any pullbacks, we'll be searching for short opportunities for further continuations to the downside. All right, that's going to be my game plan going into next week for US dollar Canadian dollar. All right, now next up is going to be British pounds and Swiss francs. If you guys remember, this market was trading in a very nice rising channel, and all of a sudden you can see how we have now clearly broken the trend line of that rising channel. The bears came into this market upon pullback to retest the trend line from below, and from there we are now making new lows. The markets gave us a very nice pullback into that supply zone that was formed as a result of this break of structure, and you can see we are now bouncing off of it in a textbook manner. So in my own opinion, British pound Swiss francs is looking bearish. Maybe if we do get any form of a pullback from here, I would like to see the bears coming to these markets to continue pushing the market to the downside. All right, that's going to be my favored price action, at least for a possible retest of this previous swing low that we have in this area. All right, maybe around 124.67, 124.70 area. Okay, that's going to be my favored move as we go into next week. All right, that's basically my game plan for British pounds and Swiss francs. Next up is going to be British pounds and New Zealand dollar. Now, for this particular currency pair, you guys know I've been keeping an eye on the daily charts, okay, for a possible retest of this daily supply zone. And when we got this spike to the upside, I actually expected the bulls to try and push the markets to the upside before selling out. But you can see how the markets actually pushed down. Well, we are yet to retest that particular supply zone, so I'm still keeping an eye on it. We have not yet made a new low. So if from here the market opens next week and we get a push to the upside, maybe to test 19600 area or even 196.25 area, if we do that and from there we begin to get any reversals, in my opinion, will be a high quality trade for further continuations to the downside. Okay, that's basically my game plan for British pounds, Swiss, New Zealand as we go into next week. Like I pointed out, we might also get a quick spike above this supply zone to retest this trend line from below, and then from there we might also get a very nice move to the downside. It is quite unlikely in my opinion, all right, but the best course of action in my opinion would be for price to give us that push into this particular supply zone, and then from there give us reversal patterns for further continuations to the downside. This is going to be the move that I prefer going into next week. All right, that's basically it for British pounds and New Zealand. Now going into the next one, New Zealand Canadian dollar. What do we have here? Pretty much textbook in my opinion. We had these key levels of our resistance on our charts, and from here, what do we have? Finally, we got a very nice push to the upside. Okay, so this demand zone was created as a result of this break of structure in our charts. Now you can see the market is now giving us a full swing pullback to retest that demand zone, maybe right around 88.50 area, or maybe even 88.25, who knows. But I'm keeping an eye on this particular charts. What I would love to see as we go into next week is for price to give me a push into this demand zone, and then from here, if we do get any reversals to the upside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside, at least for a possible retest of this previous swing high that we have in this neighborhood, okay, and even higher. All right, so let's see how that goes. That's going to be my game plan for New Zealand Canadian dollar for next week. All right, now next up is US dollar Japanese yen. You guys know I don't usually trade this currency pair, but you can see we really had very nice moves to the upside this week. You can see how the markets for the past 3 days, we have very nice full body bullish candles, okay, that has broken clearly levels of previous resistance that we have on our charts. Okay, you can see how the market has taken off this level on our charts, and well, what I would love to see right now in this pair is for price to give me a very nice pullback. Before I even get ahead of myself, if we go into the weekly time frame, you will see that last week we closed the pin bar, okay, and then this week price basically retested the low of that pin bar, and from there we got this very massive bullish candle. All right, so in my own opinion, a pullback is due. So if we go into maybe, let's say, the 4 hours time frame, maybe what I would love to see right now is for price to give me a pullback from this level, maybe to retest this previous level of structure that we have on our chart, this area right here, right around 110 institutional price level, and then from there any reversals to the upside, in my own opinion, will be a very nice high quality trade for further continuations to the upside, for a possible retest of the weekly highs that we have, and even a possible break of that weekly high. So let's see how that goes. 110 is going to be a key level as I go into next week, and if we get any bounces from that level, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long. All right, that's it for US dollar Japanese yen. Going into the next one, Swiss francs Japanese yen. All right, so this one is another currency pair that, in my own opinion, is moving as anticipated. From the weekly time frame, guys, if you remember last week, I had pointed out that well, we are trading at key levels. You can see this nice demand zone that was formed here on the weekly time frame. I told you guys that even though we close a very nice bearish candle inside that demand zone, that be very careful, because the bulls can come into these markets at any particular moment and start pushing these markets to the upside. Okay, remember, don't bet against the higher time frames. All right, now that's exactly what happened. Price pretty much tested 117.50 institutional price level, and then from there you can see that the bulls have come into this market, and as a matter of fact, if you continue reading price action, you notice that they succeeded in closing this week's candle candle an outside bar. All right, so that's the first indication. Okay, so read price action, guys. We had pretty much this equal lows at this level. Price manipulates below those lows, grabs liquidity below the lows, dip into that weekly demand zone, and from here the bulls are now coming into this market. And as a first sign of strength, we have this outside bar, weekly outside bar. In my own opinion, the bulls are slowly but surely coming into this market. But that being said, I would personally love to see another week of bullishness in this particular currency pair. So I would love to see, maybe we might get a pullback deep into this area to fill up some demand zones on the smaller time frames, from where I would love to see the markets give me another push to the upside, if possible taking off these highs. If that happens, that is going to be green lights that the bulls are now in this market, and upon any form of pullbacks, I'll be looking for opportunities to go long as well for further continuations to the upside. Like I said, this is a very high quality setup in my own opinion. If we go into the daily charts, remember we have this daily supply zone in this area. Okay, you can see the break of structure, so anything can happen. In my own opinion, I'm not so keen on actually trading this daily supply zone, to be honest, because of the way that the market is bouncing off of that particular area. Okay, you can see how the bulls are actually coming in momentum into that supply zone. I really am not so interested in trading this particular supply zone. What I think is going to happen is price might succeed in respecting this area, and we might get a little pullback, maybe towards 118.80, 118.75 area, and then from there price might give us another attack to the upside without making a new low, all right, or retesting these lows. We might just continue to push to the upside, breaking above that area. That's what I'm seeing in this particular currency pair as we go into next week. And the picture becomes even clearer if we zoom into the 4 hours time frame. You would notice that from here, you see we have this demand zone. Just watch and see how the market structure is changing. Okay, as you can see here, there's a shift in the market structure. You can see how we were forming lower highs and lower lows, forming all these supply zones on our way down, and finally you can see how the markets give us this nice push to the upside, breaking above this level of supply, this supply zone, and well, creating this demand zone in the process. Price has pulled back into that demand zone right here, and we're making a new high. As you can see, price is actually continuing to push to the upside, taking off all these mini supply zones that we have along the way. This particular demand zone that has formed is yet to be tested. So, well, I would not be surprised if price is to open next week, push into this particular demand zone that we have here, around that, let's say 118.80 area, and then from there give us another push to the upside that will now end up breaking that daily supply zone, and will, in my own opinion, set the pace for the weekly demand zone to continue being in effect, and for the bulls to continue pushing price to the upside as we go into next week. That might be the confirmation that we need to confirm that the bulls are now in this market from a longer time frame, and that we should be searching for long opportunities as far as this currency pair is concerned. All right, so that's basically it for Swiss francs Japanese yen. Let's see how it goes. For next currency pair, Canadian dollar Japanese yen, what do we have here? If this pair is going to take off to the upside, in my own opinion, we might easily see 100. Okay, that's about 1,250 pips from current market price. So if we are going to take off to the upside, that's a big if, because I'm seeing a possible weekly bullish move that is loading. Okay, it's not yet confirmed, but it's still loading. You can see, like, the Swiss francs Japanese yen, this week's candle, you can see we have that outside bar formation. All right, price pretty much dipped into this weekly demand zone, and from here you can see the outside bar formation that we have, just closing the week below 87.50 institutional price level. Okay, but again, like the British pound, like the Swiss francs Japanese yen currency pair, I would love to see price give me a very nice push above this level. Okay, I would like to see price begin to close above this selling origins that we have in this area. Okay, even a close just above this is going to be enough for me for next week. If we do get that nice bullish move next week, then upon any pullbacks, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long as we fill demand zones in the smaller time frame. Okay, so maybe hopefully we get who knows, maybe a little pullback as the week opens, and then from there a nice push to the upside to take off this selling origins that we have in this area, if the week succeeds in closing bullish next week, okay, I'll be waiting for price to give me a nice pullback, okay, to fill up demand zones in the smaller time frames for further continuations to the upside. That's going to be my preferred game plan as far as this currency pair is concerned. All right, now let's go into the daily time frame and see what we have there. Slowly but surely the markets are now switching gears. You can see that all the way down in this way, the markets was forming lower highs and lower lows, all right, which is indicative of a downtrend. And then we got to this level here. The market pushed, formed a lower high, but then watch, we form a higher low, and we are now slowly breaking the structure. All right, yes, this is the level that is key in this particular price movement, but you can see that we are now slowly but surely breaking this structure to the upside, at least from the smaller time frames. So well, I would love to see price give me a break of this particular level here, because this was the lower high that was formed in this market. So anytime we get price trading above that area, that would mean that well, we are now forming a higher low and a higher high. All right, that's going to be the first switch in price. So that's why I said I would love to see the market give me a very nice push above these levels that we have here and succeed in closing the week above this particular level. Okay, if that doesn't happen, and let's say from here next week the bears come into this market, and from here we respect this selling origin and the market continues again to the downside, well, we just continue to wait for the day that the market is going to give us that nice bullish move. Okay, and in the meantime we'll also be trying to milk the markets as we form supply zones in the smaller time frame. Okay, but for now, based on the price action that we are seeing on our charts, it's looking like the bulls are ready to take things off, but you know, let's give it one more week and see how things go. All right, that's it for Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. And that's it for the currency pairs that are giving me some technical levels to keep an eye on as we go into next week. So guys, hopefully you gained some value from this particular video, and if you did, please do not forget to click on that like button and subscribe to the channel. Click on that notification bell as well, so that you will always get updates whenever I post a video. All right, that's it for this particular video, guys. I wish everyone a very profitable trading week ahead. Cheers and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye bye.